Welcome to a demonstration on creating an agent in Agent Builder. In this module, you'll see how to create an agent in practice using a real-world scenario. Reminder: AI systems amplify decisions and actions. Getting safety right protects people, data, and trust. These sessions focus on exploring possibilities before rushing into implementation. Data and AI, privacy, and IT security teams are aligned to ensure ethical, secure, and compliant use of Copilot agents. Remember, in previous sessions, we covered the types of agent tooling that exist: Agent Builder and Copilot Studio. For this demo, we will be building our agent in Agent Builder. The agent we will be creating focuses on summarizing error reports. The agent reviews spreadsheet files in a defined location. It produces structured summaries with error counts, date ranges, and remediation steps. It outputs results in tables and visual summaries. The goal is to reduce manual analysis while keeping outputs clear and actionable.
Okay, so now let's walk through creating a sample use case. In this scenario, the use case is, for my department, I have a system that is outside of M365 that generates some sort of output. And in this scenario, I'm going to say the output is a list of errors that happened on some system. And I've configured the external system to deposit the file into a folder every day, every week, some sort of cadence. And what I want to do is I want to have Copilot analyze that file for me, and I'm going to create an agent to do that for me. So I'm going to go to New Agent, and let me get some things prepared for it because I want to be able to provide Copilot with the instructions. So I'm going to go to Teams and pull where the location of where the file is. Now, again, this only works in the scenario where the file is being stored somewhere that M365 has access to, and that I, based on my permissions, have access to. So I'm going to pull up a Teams channel that I have access to, Pilot Agent Ideation Group. Okay, so in my share, okay, so demo files. Okay, so I have this folder here, and just so you're aware, if there's a Teams channel, it has a backend SharePoint site that is the actual repository for the content. So I'm going to copy the link to the actual folder, and you can see here onenrg.sharepoint.com. So this is where it's actually pointing to. Okay, so I'm going to go, now that I have this folder, I'm going to go to my agent, and I want to go to the Describe tab because I don't know exactly how to build my agent. I just have a general use case that I want to explore creating. So I need an agent that will analyze the spreadsheets in this folder. And so I've given it now what will eventually become a knowledge source for my agent. And so anything I can do to help it understand what these are. Because what is a spreadsheet? So I'm going to tell it, analyze any file with .xlsx that was deposited in this folder on a given day based on my request. Provide my output as a summary table of the contents in the file. I need error number of times the error was triggered, date range, and remediation steps. And I think that's is a generally good overview of what I think this agent should be doing. And so then I'm going to run this and see what Copilot comes up with. And so it's going to look through my instructions and it's going to think about what capabilities it has. And so when I give it some time, it's going to put together, you'll start to see it compiling my agent. You'll see a name of an agent. So you see spreadsheet error analyzer pop up. It's got some sample prompts that it thinks, and it's taken what I wrote down and it's converted it into something that's probably more readable. So analyze all Excel files uploaded to the specified SharePoint folder for a given day. Summarizes spreadsheet content focusing on error numbers, frequency of error, date range, and remediation steps. Outputs a summary table based on user queries. Okay, so now I can go to the configure tab and see what it's put together for me. And so I've got and this is what is essentially the overview. And this will make more sense as we progress through building this agent. But you can see here I've got some things I can edit, the details, the name. This is the image or the logo that's going to appear. You can see here on my left nav, all of these different agents have some sort of icon. And so I can change the icon by clicking this pencil. And I can use one of the just default icons. I can make it just a color. I can upload a file from my computer if I want. But for this, I'm going to pick this thing. This looks like a spreadsheet analyzer icon, but I can pick anything I want. So I'm going to apply that. You'll see it updates here. Spreadsheet error analyzer. I'm not really concerned about the name of the agent, and I can come back and modify this if I want later. And then you see in the description, I've got the information, and I can expand this to if it's a really long description. But what this description is helpful for is when people go to download, install this agent, what is it that this agent is going to do? And if you think about this from a configuration perspective, you can take this agent build and then change it to file folders that you have access to, file extensions that you want the agent to analyze. So anyway, so looking at the instructions, it's taken now my natural language instructions and it's started trying to filter it out. You could see this is the table that I should probably get out of this. It's made its own decisions on error handling, and it's provided a sample output that I can see to say, oh, this does look like what I want. And then as I scroll down to knowledge source, I can see that it's connected to my demo files folder. So I can add additional file folders if I want, but this is the one I want. And then capabilities, you can see it's turned on the capabilities to analyze the data that is going to be. So it has the turning down this makes the agent capable of performing these functions. And then it's given me some suggested prompts just based on what it thinks I might ask the agent to do on any given day. And I can modify these if I wanted. I can add more suggested prompts. You can see those suggested prompts are what we see here in this thing. So I'm going to hit this just to test my agent. I'm going to hit this particular suggested prompt. Now I know there's no files that are there from today, so I'm going to ask it to summarize errors for the files currently present. And that sentence doesn't make any sense, but I want it to go and try to process these error files that are there because I know there's some that's in this folder. I don't know what's in them. I think they might be relatively old, but we can see what the output comes out and see how the agent performs and figure out what we need to do next to modify the agent if there's something that we need to change about it. So it's looking in that SharePoint folder for Excel files, .xlsx files to be specific. And we'll see what it generates once it has a chance to analyze the... Okay, so you start to see it found 3 files. And you start to see it going through and what it can do for me. So you see it's pulling in the error number I don't really like this occurrence pattern. I would prefer it give me a numerical count. And then you can see it's giving me the date range of when these errors have happened. And then what are the remediation steps for the particular errors. And you can see here, it's got the reference file as the source, so it can go back. And then it's giving me some information. Error 4 is most persistent. Remediation guidance is standardized. All right, so now what I see here is this is probably a good starting point for my agent. So let's say, for instance, I wasn't too upset about getting this repeated. Like I said, I would have preferred this been just a 404 happened 17 times count, but I can go back and modify that at a later date. For now, this is sufficient for what I wanted it to happen, and so I'm good with this. So I'm going to go ahead and create this agent. And once this is done, you'll see my agent will appear in my navigation pane. So you see it popped up here, spreadsheet, error, analyzer, and I can now go to agent. Now, I do have the ability to go back to the agent. If I hit these three dots here, I can pin this here, and then I can edit this or I can share it. If I go to share, I can then pick out users who I want to give the agent to. So I can give it to anyone in my organization, or I can specify users. If I specify users, I have to know specifically the user. And so, for instance, if I wanted to give this to Sarah, I could pick out Sarah and then I could grant Sarah access to it. I can keep this just for me because this is something I only use or have use case for. So I'm going to cancel out of that because I'm not going to share this with anyone. But if I wanted to go back and edit it, I can come back here and start changing things as I will. So now, anything I make a change to, you can see the last updated was at 8:29. And so if I make a change, the thing that I need to make sure I do is I need to hit update. So that way the actual deployed version of this agent gets the most updated information. I'm not going to do anything here now. It's actually where I want it to be. So this is how you go to deploy just a simple agent builder agent.
You've seen how to create an agent in practice. You've explored a real-world agent scenario. Your next step is to start identifying ideas where agents can safely add value in your own work.